I was going to devote to trying to solve this problem of the organ shortage. And it wasn't going to be by trying harder to get people to give more organs. It was going to be by finding another source of organs. As far as I'm concerned, is the only way we're going to solve this problem. The acuity of the organ shortage really, I think, started to become clear in the late 1980s, 1990s, where people were dying waiting on lists. So at that point, I'd lost a brother at age 35. He had a sudden death and found that he had cardiomyopathy just like my dad, and it was clear then that it was a genetic problem. And then, I was getting symptomatic. I would have a cardiac arrest. I needed prolonged CPR. So I came very close to dying. And I really experienced firsthand what it's like to have an organ that's failed and be in a position of waiting to get sick enough to receive a transplant, to even be listed for a transplant. And we were in the midst of this horrible crisis of drug overdose victims dying, and many of them, became donors. The problem was 25% of them had hepatitis C from needle sharing. So we started a small pilot study where we purposely used a hepatitis C positive organ into a hepatitis C negative recipient and treated them with these new antiviral drugs that had shown promise. And so I entered the trial myself, and that's how I got my heart.
Center.
Loosen this, yeah. So now with xenotransplantation, with bioartificial organs, a pig kidney can do biologically and physiologically everything that a human organ can do to sustain life. And anything that it can't do, it turns out that we have some redundancy in our own physiology to make up for that. So now we know that you can put an organ in somebody and they don't need fluid replenishment or electrolyte replenishment on a regular basis. It just works. Now, the beauty of a pig heart is that it's all biologic material. And so that makes it accustomed, if you will, to being in contact with blood and circulation. And it has all of these things that evolution has given it to not form clots, to not have all the problems that artificial material have had. So it's really just a problem of getting the human immune system to accept it. And the great thing about gene editing is we're going to learn what molecules the human immune system is responding to, and we can knock those out or replace them with a human gene. There will be, in the future, so-called bioartificial organs that will be a combination of a scaffolding, whether it's a 3D printed scaffolding or a decellularized animal organ, where we can put human cells on top, and maybe even the recipient's own cells, stem cells. So you could start to grow an organ for them that wouldn't require any immunosuppression. That would be their own tissue. But there are a couple of steps that are going to be before that. Xenotransplantation is upon us right now. We're in the middle of it. In terms of longevity and thinking about adding years to the lifespan and the health span, I think the single most powerful thing is going to be having another source of organ so we can just switch out a damaged, failing organ and rejuvenate the person. Giving somebody a new organ will give them a new lease on life and many added years.